We need to start controlling our controllables in our life and with our health. And one of those things that we can actually control on a daily basis is our sleep. And we're not just looking, initially, we're looking at your quality of sleep, trying to improve the quality of your sleep, but also the quantity. So today we're going to get a bit more. We're going to move the worlds together, and the worlds are, you have the world of science and information and data and professionals and specialists and all these amazing humans in the world. Again, I don't undervalue their knowledge and their wisdom, however, they are just one part of our puzzle. We also have traditional wisdom, which has often been overlooked and forgotten by just that Western medicine side of things, and we need to merge those two worlds a little bit. And then the third part, of course, is your inner wisdom, your innate wisdom. Your body wants to be innately in health and healthy, and we have forgotten that wisdom, and I'm just here to remind us of it, okay? And we just need some access points to access our own wisdom on all of these things. But today we're going to bring it all those things together, and we're going to talk about sleep. So I'm going to bring in a bit of science and a bit of woo-woo and a bit of you, and we're going to put it all in together and then see if we can walk away with some practical steps to improve our sleep, especially over the next week that we're actually sharing a space together. You may as well do it now. When are you going to do it? If you say, oh, I'll do it next week, you're never going to do it. So do it now. Do it today. Start today. So sleep is one of the most beautiful human experiences that you can have. We all know what it feels like to have a good night's sleep, especially if it's on clean sheet night. Oh my God, the best in the world. And I know that if you're a mum and if you're still in the trenches with your kids, that sleep is something that can be often very elusive and it's really hard work. Don't worry, I've been there and I know that pain. It's also why I'm a little bit sleep obsessed and send myself through regular sleep schools essentially, to improve my own sleep, because I know the value of it so much. And we're going to talk about that now. So I would say that when we talk about our health, one of the most incredible, powerful ways to improve our health is through our sleep. And yet sleep can be quite elusive for a lot of us. And sleep deprivation itself leads to huge amounts of chronic illness and disease. And it's something that, obviously chronic disease and ill health comes later down the track, but we can control this now, and we can improve our long-term health and well-being by improving our sleep. Another thing I see a lot in the fitness industry is with the obsession, obviously, with this side of things. And yesterday I was talking about the circle and how you've got to have all the things working together in a nice little hummy way. And often things get out of whack and you need to recalibrate. There is literally no point in going to classes and killing yourself with HIIT training and doing all these things and thinking that you're doing the right thing if you're not sleeping. Because your body cannot recover from the sessions you're putting it through. There is no point in doing any kind of programmed physical training beyond walking or just a swim or something quite gentle and low key. There's no point in doing anything if you're not sleeping. Absolutely not. But I see women doing it all the time, and that's when we end up we actually create health problems because we're not doing the one thing that we should be doing to support what we're doing in our lives, which is sleeping. So like I said, we've got to work on sleep quality and quantity at the same time. So they're both super important. A lot of people function, they said, oh, I can't sleep, I'm a night owl, and I really respect people's individuals' biorhythms, but biorhythms also can become habitual, and we can create stories around that about, I work better if I work at 1 a.m. No, I don't think you do. I just think you've got into the habit of working at 1 a.m. That's an extreme example, but it's stories that I hear. And again, the stories that we tell ourselves then create the reality we're in. So when we are looking at our sleep, there are certain key parameters. I mean, these are the scientific parameters about when our body actually functions really well, and we work with nature on this. And so, the old adage of going to sleep when the sun goes down and waking when the sun rises, there's method to that. There's a reason for that. We are animals at the end of the day, and we were built to work with the cycles of nature. And that also means that the rhythms through the year do change, and that certain times of the year maybe we won't sleep as much in the summer months when there's lots of light. But through winter then we would sleep more and rest more, and that's how we calibrate as humans, and different humans in different parts of the world will be recalibrating in different ways. So for instance, if you live in Norway, your daylight hours during summer are insane. Like it's light at like 3 a.m. in the morning and doesn't get dark till like 12 o'clock, and so you only get 3 hours. Wibbly. Lauren, if you're still there, please let me know that you can still hear. Everything is okay. That would be awesome. Sorry, where was I? So, there's a particular kind of growth hormone that has to be produced 4 times a night, and roughly speaking, that kind of happens around 10 p.m., 12, 2, and 4 a.m. So that we need to be asleep during those times so we can hit those 4 cycles. And obviously, a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, 10 p.m. I'm never in bed by 10 p.m." Well, there's a reason why you probably should be. So. Also trying to hit that magic 7 hours. So it's the timing of your sleep and how long you're asleep, which are both simultaneously really, really important. As I said, a lack of sleep or not working within the biorhythms that I'm talking about can lead to all sorts of, functional decline, cognitive decline, premature aging, depression, immune suppressed, insulin resistance, and you can see how those things then lead to chronic illness and chronic disease. And that's why we just don't want to be in those places, especially when this is something as simple as just putting ourselves to bed at night. And we're grown-ass women, and we really should be looking after ourselves a little bit more. On that. Now, so sleep is governed by 2 hormones, and this is where we need to hormones are so important for women, especially more so than our male counterparts, but not, they still have to work with this. So you've got cortisol, which you would have heard of, which is your stress hormone, and you've got melatonin. Now those 2 work inversely, so you can't have one high and one, you can't have them on high at the same time. They work inverse. So when cortisol is high, melatonin is low, which tends to be during the day. And when melatonin is high and cortisol is low, which happens then at night, you can see that inverse relationship, and it has to work like that. But often what happens is that doesn't happen. Our cortisol starts doing strange things through the night, and that can wake people up, especially if you're like a shift worker or you're a mum or you're under a lot of stress. Most of us are. So these things don't quite work the way they're meant to work. But there are little things we can do. It's not a case of just taking a supplement to solve it. Again, remember yesterday we were talking about that pill for pain approach. Like, we don't want to just supplement everything. Sure, it can help in a short period of time. There's a place for supplementation like melatonin, but to rely on it to sort your biorhythms out is not, that's not a long-term solution for any of us. So what are the things? So 2 of the major things I think as well with sleep that people struggle with is either getting to sleep or staying asleep. My personal challenge over the years has always been staying asleep. Never have a problem. I can literally drop like that. Never had a problem with that. But I wake up a lot during the night, and I've been working on that on and off over the years. And again, this isn't like some linear thing. It's not like, I tick the box, I can do sleep. I mentioned it yesterday. I've been working very consistently this year to try and improve my sleep, and I have a long way to go. And I'm just learning the lessons. I'm just letting my body tell me when it needs something. I'm just getting better at listening and responding to it accordingly. I don't think this is something that you're just going to nail, unless you're very, very focused and you don't have any external distractions in your life. It's really hard to get health to work on a linear level. You just have to pick and choose and go, with what you've got at the time. But we can be moving towards that bigger picture of better quality and better quantities of sleep. So things that disturb sleep, all sorts of things can disturb sleep beyond just, children waking you up in the night. Food intolerances mess up your sleep. So if you don't actually remember what I was saying yesterday, things can feel great, but then when you actually eat them, your body's not that happy about it. So food intolerances, allergies obviously, but you'll know about those a little bit quicker. Alcohol consumption, caffeine consumption, I know it's all the fun stuff, right? Perhaps not so fun. Parasites, a lot of us do actually carry parasites, and they're a part of our biosystem, but sometimes the nasty ones can get in and they can cause a lot of havoc. They actually cause a lot of sleep disturbances in kids, and a lot of people don't talk about that. So threadworms is really common in children, and that disturbs their sleep. So that's one to check out for if your kid's struggling, or they wake up within 40 minutes of going to bed. Threadworms could be an issue. Anyway, that's just my own personal story. We've had a little bit of a battle with that in our house. Temperature obviously has an influence on sleep. You know, on those really hot nights in summer, you can't sleep so much. But temperature within our own bodies does have an influence on our sleep. So women, if you're still in your period cycling, there are dips and troughs in your temperature throughout your cycle, and that can have an influence over your sleep. If you're going through those menopause years, again, things with our estrogen, when our estrogen drops, it throws our progesterone out of balance, and that impacts on our sleep. So there's influences all the time, all these nuances. One thing that I speak about a lot with my Eagle Soar clients, so I've worked with a couple of people one-on-one on a lot of health things, and I run this thing called Eagle Soar, so if you want to know more about that, let me know. But we talk about EMF, so the electromagnetic fields actually do have an impact on your sleep. EMFs can be a big issue for people with when you leave your Wi-Fi on at night time, when you have your phone by your bed. So all of these things, like you need to basically switch off your Wi-Fi, switch off your phone, like totally switch it off. This is not just putting it on silent, it's actually getting rid of your phone out of your bedroom. It's about not having TVs in your bedroom, all sorts of things. But like I said, I go into a lot more detail about EMF. Actually overconsume water during the evening, you're going to get up going for a wee because your bladder's just full. So when I talk about dehydration, I'm actually talking about the salts and minerals that we have in our water. And again, I go into detail with you one-on-one when you work with me like that. Lack of movement during the day. So you know, on those days where you just haven't moved around very much, you're a little bit sluggish and you do feel quite tired and lethargic, but then you don't sleep so well. It's because your body is made to move, and we know that when we don't move, then we don't sleep so well. Also things like magnesium deficiency. I was talking about supplements just now, but one of the supplements I recommend everyone takes on quite a high level is magnesium, and I have written a newsletter on that. So if you want to know a bit more about that and you haven't had that newsletter, let me know and I can send you a link. It's got all the details about how to supplement with magnesium and why it's so important for women especially, and our sleep. So when we talk about trying to improve, like on a really practical level, how do you improve your sleep? Again, it's like you cannot solve this just overnight. It's an ongoing process, but there's certainly having a rhythm with your sleep and having a routine with your sleep, very, very important. We do this with our kids mostly, and it works a treat. It does work, but we know we have to revisit things and life happens. It's not about being super rigid, and that's why I guess I use the word rhythm as opposed to routine. Feels a bit more rigid. But there's a rhythm and a routine. You can see the two, and you can be more flexible with one than the other, and it depends how your personality works and your family works as to what works for you. But there's things like, okay, habits. No blue light, so no screens, no phones, no TVs within 2 hours of sleeping. If you are on your screen, then make sure it has one of those filters, those amber filters on it. In your house, make sure your lighting is really, really low level, again, for 2 hours before bed. So I love salt lamps all over my house. I've got friends that take the piss out of me for it, but there's a natural reason why I like the lighting to be at a really low level, and it calms everyone down in the house, and it's beautiful. I love it. But if you've got bright, middle of your spotlights are on all the way through until you go to bed, then it's going to disturb your sleep. Blue light disturbs your sleep. doing calming activities in the evening. So, you know, we all do this naturally. Having a nice hot shower, hot bath, you know, maybe listening to some nice music. Some people like to do some meditation, some breath work, some yoga. And again, this isn't always accessible. I work with a lot of women who really struggle in the evening, because the evening, often after the kids go to bed, is the only time they have to themselves to get shit done. And I get that. And again, I can help you manage that if you work with me one-on-one, and I've got lots of solutions to help you with things like that. But one of the biggest things I think we can all do is start making ourselves go to bed at a set time for 10 days. Like, absolutely, doesn't matter if it's the weekend or the middle of the week, you go to bed at a set time. Be that 10 p.m, 9 p.m, 9:30. I think 9:30 is a good one, just in the middle. So saying to yourself, I'm going to be in bed, lying down by 9:30, everything's done, not stressing. And in bed, you can literally take 3 or 4 deep breaths, do the sighs that we did at the beginning of this call, let everything go, and just hopefully fall asleep. But you're going to do that for 10 days consecutively. You're also, until your body starts getting into a natural rhythm, you set your alarm for early, so 6 o'clock, 6:30. At the moment we're in summer, so really we want to be up before the sun, but that's super early. Like, you'd have to be up around 5:30. It gets light now at the moment. I don't need to do this anymore. My body naturally will wake up around 6 a.m. and that feels like a really good time for me. And then I get up and do my morning activities. But 2 other things you can do with the sun are sun gazing. So if you have an opportunity, especially over these summer months, and you're up early, just literally go outside first thing and just look towards the horizon and the sun, and just gently look into the sun. This is as the sun is rising. This is not when it's up in the sky at midday. You're not looking at it then. And you're trying to do it, like, you can look through windows and screens to do it, but the light then gets filtered, so it's not as impactful on you. So just try to get outside and look at the early morning sun just for a couple of minutes, and do the same at the end of the day. And it could be a little rhythm that you do if you have got kids with them as well. Just get them to do it, because it's going to reset their body as well at the same time. So just developing that rhythm of going to bed at the same time, getting up at the same time, and doing it for 10 days to get yourself really into a good biorhythm. Oh my God, I said I'd go quicker today and I haven't. I'm already at 23 minutes. I'm so sorry. I have so much information to share with you. It's really hard to kind of put it all into just one call, but I will tie things up now. So, napping. There's when it comes to the science, a lot of people say different things about napping, about you shouldn't have to nap if you're sleeping well, or you should only nap for like 10 minutes, like, do those power naps, or you should do 20. The science is kind of all over the place, and it depends what kind of data you look at. So this is where I come back to your wisdom. What works for you? There's some days, actually, especially when the kids were younger, I literally at the weekends, I would definitely have naps. So when my partner was around to support me a bit more, I would be napping at the weekends to try and catch up on some sleep. I wasn't very good at doing it by myself during the week, but I certainly did it then. I also do it now when I'm feeling quite tired or run down and fatigued. Sometimes a nap is not going to work. So just lying on the floor and putting your legs up the wall, put a cushion under your bum, and just lie there and take 10 deep breaths. It really just calms your system down. So it's not napping as such, but it is actively releasing your spine, letting everything go, lying down, even lying down on the floor and doing some breathing. I am a big fan of an afternoon meditation. So if I get tired, I will literally sit down and I put my headphones on, and I like to be in the dark, so you can put an eye mask on. It looks a bit funny, but and I literally will sit there and do a 10-minute meditation, either listening to some music, doing some breath work, or going deeper into a meditation. And I tell you what, you come out of it and you actually do feel more alive. So you don't necessarily have to nap, but napping is an option if it's available to you. Obviously, caffeine consumption, we're all different side, everyone's different sensitivities to this. I am still on 1 coffee a day. If anybody knows me, know how much I love my coffee. So I tend to have a coffee in the morning by about 10 a.m. Certainly, this is another thing, but we'll talk about this another day, about not having caffeine when you first wake up in the morning. But that's a whole different ball game. We're not going to go into that now. But I'll have a coffee by 10 a.m. and pretty much after 11, I won't drink any coffee. If I haven't had it by 11, that's it. There's no coffee. There's no caffeine after 11, because it can really impact my sleep especially. Alcohol for me is just out. I used to be able to have a couple of drinks, can't do it now, I'm getting older. So our sensitivities to foods and alcohol and caffeine increase as we get older. We used to be able to get away with shit when we were younger. The older we get as women, and this is where you have to be wise. No, I just want a glass of wine. Well, no. I mean, if you're really invested in your long-term health and well-being, then the answer is no. And you just have to be a bit of a grown-up about it, or you have to accept the consequences. Don't think that I'm like this kind of person that I'm pure as a driven snow and everything's done meticulously. It's not. I fall over all the time, but I also know. I know when I fall over, I know, and I accept the consequences, and then I do everything I can to just bolster myself back up and support my body through the less ideal choices that I make. Another huge one, gosh, I'm having to go really quickly, but yoga and meditation before you go to bed really helps boost your GABA, and I can talk to you more about GABA if you work one-on-one with me. That's huge. There's lots of herbal supplements that people absolutely swear by that help them sleep. Lavender obviously is a great one. It's never worked for me, but some people love lavender, so if that works for you, then go for it. Just throw everything at it. Things like, I love passion flower tea and chamomile tea, so I drink that in the evening, but again, not drinking too much because otherwise you're up all night weaning. You've got things like valerian root extract. I'm a massive fan, and I can talk about this more if you want more information on it, about supplementing with glycine for me personally. That really, really helps me with my GABA deficiency. Oh, and a sign of GABA deficiency, by the way, is twitchy leg. Does anybody get that twitchy leg? You know, at night time, it's like, oh God, and your leg starts going if you're watching TV. It'd be really interesting to see if anybody suffers from twitchy leg syndrome, because that is a massive indicator that your GABA is deficient. And again, I can talk more about GABA if you ask me in the questions. I think I've covered everything. I go back through the video. There's so many things here. What I'll try and do is I'll try and put a little summary up. So homework for day 2 is to start looking at your sleep rhythm, your evening routine and rhythm around your sleep, and seeing if you can make some tweaks and changes right from tonight. Like, actually try and implement something. You're not going to get instant results. This isn't about instant results. This is like, the whole point of Rising Fierce is that we're leaving this instantaneous super gratification stuff behind us, and actually living a life that's really aligned with our health and our well-being and our passions and everything that we want to do in the world. So you're not going to, it's not like you just turn off the Wi-Fi tonight and you suddenly sleep, although you might. But just don't think that this is, I'm going to be an amazing sleeper by the end of the week. I've been working consistently on things for, what are we now, 11 months. And I'm still working on it, but definitely seen an improvement in that time. So that is all I have to say to you, wonderful humans, today, all about sleep. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this is landing. Please, dive in. The more you put into this program, the more I can give back to you. The more you ask me questions, the more I can share with you. But if I just get silence, or you don't interact, or you're not watching the videos, or you're not even doing the practices, then you're losing out. Like I said to you yesterday, I'm not here to do the work for you. I'm opening a door. It's up to you to walk through and do it. You've got me for another few days, so I will see you very, very soon. Tomorrow, not sure what time I'm going to be on. I did talk about maybe doing a Zoom. I'm going to jump into the group and see who's interested in doing that. Obviously, I want more of you on there. I think we've got over 30 now in this group, so let's do this, people. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.